She is the editor-in-chief of the new location-based magazine, LBX Journal, Natasha Leisure.
Thank you, Brady. In addition to being editor of LBX Journal, which is a new multimedia resource for business professionals seeking to explore geospatial or location applications, I'm also president of ITF Advisors, which is a strategy consulting firm that focuses on media, communications, technology, and geospatial companies. I'm going to start today, ironically, with a very low-tech map. It's not intelligent in any way. It doesn't have any overlays of complicated data sets and time sequence data. But instead, it simply marks an objective. It has an X that marks the spot for treasure. And this is important context for thinking about how to integrate location applications into business and the enterprise. Because as we all know, businesses are created for profit purposes. Throughout this conference, there's been discussion about Find Me and Follow Me services, and also how to map daily lifestyle activities, visualizing and understanding lifestyle from transportation to communication. And what we've heard in the conference over the last 2 days is that monetization of these technologies is still an issue and a concern. I'm here to tell you that the proliferation of consumer location-based applications is creating a new emerging market for emerging business users. So let's talk a little bit about geospatial user trends. Thanks to Google Earth, MapQuest, GPS devices, portable navigation devices, and smartphones, the world has become location aware. It's the whole purpose of this conference today. You in the audience represent the applications that are being developed, continuing to be developed. These consumer applications are making businesses more and more aware of the potential of location. But it's also causing business executives to ask the question of, well, if I can easily find the Starbucks around the corner, or if I can track friends and I can zoom in on my house, why am I still fighting IT for better business intelligence? So with consumer location applications, we estimate that there will be 200 million users, or probably about 200 million users today of location applications. And it's estimated to increase to about 750 million users when you combine not only the applications, but you combine the use of GPS devices and smartphones. GIS software, on the other hand, has been focused more on the enterprise and organizations. And that has focused on expert users, and that those users are estimated to be around 2 million users. What we think about a lot is this concept of the consumer and business really morphing. They're converging, and if you think about the iPhone, and if you think about Google Earth, or even if you think about your communications services that you use at home, whether that's a cable modem service for your broadband connection, ask the question of, if you're running a business from your home, are you a residential user or are you a small business? So with the iPhone was designed to be a consumer electronics device, but I read recently that there a report that says that executives, 40 to 45% of executives are planning on or have already adopted the iPhone, even though their IT departments don't support it. And then Google Earth has turned into really default collaboration platform for many engineering companies and even other organizations that have to use maps to communicate to non-technical and non-geospatial users within their organization. So what does this mean? This means that there's a convergence that's taking place within the geospatial market. We see three distinct markets developing. There's a legacy GIS market that represents about 5% of the business users out there. Then there's a new emerging business market that makes up that other 95%, and then the consumer market, 100% of the consumer market is about 200 million users. So we see that there's this trajectory of users really moving from 2 million from the GIS side out, and then 200 million users from really the consumer market in. So let me talk a little bit about location-based X, or LBX, which is the name of our new multimedia resource. My partner my partner Craig Bachman, we coined this term last year in the winter 2008 issue of Imaging Notes magazine. And what we saw is that, well, I should back up for a second, is 80% of business data is location-based. And this has been a standard figure that's been used in the geospatial industry. I'm not sure who came up with it. It hasn't been tracked over the last couple of years, but it continues to be utilized. Yet, a majority of business decisions are based on spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations. And we heard this yesterday from Major Sean Madej. He was talking about it from the government perspective, indicating that this is a problem. There's this volume of data that organizations are consuming, and it's getting harder and harder to process all of this tabular data. Companies, in many respects, are looking at 70,000 lines of Excel spreadsheets that they have to interpret. And then they translate that into PowerPoint presentations and charts, and people have to make some sense out of it. And so the ability of location applications to help aggregate all of that information is becoming increasingly important in order to be able to detect pattern recognition. And so the X is really whatever it is that your business process involves. So that can be location-based advertising, that can be location-based inventory, location-based product development, whatever you want it to be. It's just a matter of being able to tap into the dimension of location from a business perspective. So what's important here is describing location in the language of business. And back to the pirate map is, in many respects, businesses are very, very simple. They are looking for the treasure, the gold, the profit, and that turns into growing the top line revenues, and that turns into questions of how do I find new customers, where are the new markets, and efficiently delivering quality goods and services. So the types of questions that business users are asking are marketing and sales, supply chain, value chain optimization and management, product development. How do we better communicate to our stakeholders, not only within the organization, but outside of the organization? And then, of course, strategic planning. How do you identify where to go next? How do you identify the patterns in a rapidly changing environment? So what we see is that there's a need for this bridge between geospatial or location technologies and really the business questions. Because on the geo side or the location side, there are all of these cool maps, which are absolutely incredible, and everyone is really enamored with them. But then the business executive will sit back and say, okay, well, what do I do with those maps now? They're really cool, but how does that help me improve my performance? How does that help with KPIs, key performance indicators? And how does that help with revenue growth and improved operations? Now, why there's a need for this bridge is because, as you all know, location is complicated. It involves a number of different things. It involves data, then data integration, then analytics and visualization, and you need hardware and specific software. And then, well, when you get into the enterprise, then it's an issue of, well, does it integrate with my CRM system? And what about asset management and then business intelligence? So there's a lot for businesses to have to process. So as a result of what we've heard from geospatial solutions providers or location providers, as well as the business executives, we realized that there was really a need for a multimedia resource that can start to bridge that gap and really help companies tap into the location dimension, or what we call discovering the location dimension of business. So LBX Journal is a new multimedia resource. It is not a typical magazine. We are focused on really 3 key issues, which is looking at location from a business perspective. So what are the business issues? What are the problems that need to be solved in the language of the business executives? So there are questions on our website from a marketing perspective, a product development perspective, a strategic planning perspective. And we have spatially enabled our entire small media company and our website so that you can see where the questions originated from. So this is our homepage right here. And then we've got a marketplace section, which is where business users can look for companies based on the way they look at the problems. Is it a data problem? Is it a business intelligence problem? Is it a software problem? And companies can find companies that are a complete profile and contact information. And what's unique about it is we've enabled a virtual RFP or RFI that will enable users or business professionals to type in what is their requirement, what are their needs, what are their business questions, what's their time frame, what's their budget, because as you know, there are a number of solutions that are out there, but it's really hard for businesses that never really considered location as a way of looking at their business before. Where do they even start? So this is really a tool that's available to them to find the appropriate companies. And also on the geospatial side is what we've heard is that companies need a better way to target those new business users. And then lastly, the other key component is that we have also a community of LBX members, and everything can be geospatially referenced on our interactive globe, from the articles that we have, which are focused on, again, from a business issues perspective. We have interviews with executives talking about how they've used location, why they've used it, and in many cases that they didn't even know they had a location question. And they stumbled upon a location provider that helped them identify new revenue streams, or help them identify ways of optimizing their supply chain. So this globe will filter articles, member companies, and member profiles, and also enable you to search the entire site. So we are extremely excited about LBX Journal. We are launching beta today. We will be in beta for the next 6 weeks, and we invite you to pre-register for LBX Journal at lbxjournal.com, and you can click on the Where 2.0 participant link, which will entitle you to a 25% discount off of our annual subscription. So, thank you very much.